So welcome everyone to our December meetup, the last of 2019. When we were thinking about the content, I really wanted to make this about next year, what we at LeanLaw think of as the year of growth. And so a little bit about our agenda today. I'll do a little bit of an introductory, but then I'm going to steer it over to Gary Allen, our CEO, who will talk about the company. And then to Mr. Willerup, our CTO, Fred Willerup, who will talk about the product. And then I'm going to talk about the LeanLaw Accounting Pro program. A little bit of Q&A, and then what's next. I'm going to start by saying, oh, look at that. My thing didn't render. That's concerning. By saying something of a fun fact. When we look at our deal flow at LeanLaw, nearly 50 to 60% of all deals have a LeanLaw Accounting Pro or a soon-to-be LeanLaw Accounting Pro resource attached. And it says something about this community that I'll speak to a little bit later, but it talks about the importance of this relative to our company and our company's success. About a year and a half ago, we had a company epiphany, and we realized how influential this community was, not just to us having the opportunity to win clients, but also the success of the product. We learned that if we could make the product work for this community, it ultimately would work for the law firm. And so we doubled down on many of our tactics, launching this program. And we're a small company, and I like to call this program the LeanLaw Accounting Pros, like a slobbering toddler, really cute but kind of messy. And you know, we hope in the year to come that we organize and get a little bit tighter with that. So here's the three of us. Gary is the chief executive, and we're all three founders. Fred is our CTO, and I'm here. So I'm gonna, gosh, my thing didn't render properly. So we have three tenets. There are three key tenets for 2018. It's learn, in how we can learn collectively and individually. Connect, how we can become a community and help each other. And lastly, grow. How do we all thrive and grow? That's the themes of our program. It's the themes of our relationship with this community. And it's something that we'll use as a foundation as we think about how we execute. Are we learning? Are we connecting? Are we growing? Those are the three tenets that we really believe in here with this community. So that's just a kickoff. I'm gonna hand it over to Gary, who can chat a little bit about where we're headed as a company. So Gary.
Awesome, thank you, Jonathan. So the first thing I want to do is just thank everybody on this call and those who couldn't join us today for being a really essential part of our growth in 2019. As Jonathan said, you brought us a lot of deals. We engaged you in a lot of our deals. You've really become essential to our success. And I just wanted to thank you for that. You've given us credibility in the QuickBooks community. You've helped us to onboard and serve our clients. And you've said a lot of nice things about us. So we really appreciate all of that. And we're humbled and we're grateful for that. So with your help, we had some real success in 2019. We doubled our business. And we want to double or triple our business in 2020, which we think will create really exciting opportunities both for you and for us. And so how are we going to do that? And as you know, we are very closely tied with Intuit and QuickBooks, and they've done something really interesting from our perspective, which is to make law and professional services part of their big bet on QuickBooks Advanced, and particularly on the mid-market with QuickBooks Advanced. And that was really exciting for us to hear that. We kind of knew that in the summer, but we got that in spades at QuickBooks Connect. And so that was really exciting. We came back from QuickBooks Connect and said, wow, we align exactly perfectly with that goal. Both for law firms and ultimately for professional services firms. As the more we look at where Intuit is going, the more we think that's just a really critical part of their success and their ability to grow that the way that they want to. The mid-market law firm segment we know is underserved. And we expect that's true of the entire professional services segment. These firms don't fit well with
That was Elizabeth Rogers, by the way.
Hi, Elizabeth. There's Elizabeth, our invaluable content director, making a guest appearance.
Yeah.
So in any case, the segment of mid-sized law firms is underserved. I work in one, so I know this. You've seen it if you've worked with them. They don't really have a good fit with practice management software because all the pieces aren't good enough. And these firms struggle getting, large quantities of bills out and getting the information that they need to run their businesses. So we think you and us together, we can really make a big difference for these law firms. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to launch a new mid-market enterprise product in 2020, which will specifically target those larger clients. And it's going to have everything that we have in LeanLaw today and more. There will be, and I'll leave the details to Fred to discuss when we talk about the product, but what we want to do is create a perfect alignment with what Intuit's doing with professional services firms and fill the gaps that they have for these mid-sized firms. And we're really excited about that. And we hope that you're excited too, because we're really going to need your help to be successful launching that product.
Hey, Gary.
Yes, sir.
Annette asked, how do we define a mid-market product? And I wanted to cut you off just because we keep saying mid-market. So let's talk about what that means.
Well, that's a good point. So, sorry about that. So we're defining mid-market as law firms between 5 and 30 lawyers. It can be defined more broadly than that. Intuit defines mid-market as companies with 10 to 100 employees. But we think for law firms, with 5 lawyers, you're going to have probably around 10 users in the firm. Maybe we don't get a good fit up to 100 employees, but we can get close to that. So it's in that range.
Yeah. It also, just to add a little to that, it also can be feature driven and sophistication. So you could have a 4 to 5 person firm, but they're very demanding from a data standpoint, or they need specific controls that they want. And so they'll say, hey, we'll tolerate going up into a more enterprisey kind of feeling product.
Right, exactly. As we talk about features, we'll talk about things like, trust account deposits and other things that might draw smaller firms into the QuickBooks Advanced world and possibly into our mid-market product as well.
And Annette, thank you for asking that question, but I really want anyone to ask a question. If we're speaking, obviously chat's a better tool, and I'm watching chat and I'll insert it in, but if you have questions, there's some at the end, but we want this to be interactive. So please feel free to connect with us to ask that question. Go ahead, Gary.
Okay, so the bottom line of all of that is that we want to put you in front of these larger firms and help give you what you need to both land those kinds of clients and to serve them successfully. And to do that, we're going to be raising some money in our firm here over the next few months. And what do we want to do with that? We want to provide Fred more engineering help to help build features faster. Yay, and Fred's very excited about that. I can see him smiling as I'm sitting here. We want to hire an onboarding specialist to help with that difficult part of getting these clients on board to help you and us with that function. And then we also want to have a marketing specialist. And part of that person's job is going to put you in front of mid-sized law firms. We think we all can come together, us and Intuit, to sell QuickBooks Online Advanced to mid-sized law firms in 2020. And it's really exciting to us to potentially have the girth of Intuit to help with that process. So the one last thing I want to say. And so that's basically where we're headed as a company in 2020. We're going to be very focused on this mid-market product. That's not to say we're not going to serve smaller law firms, and we're not interested if you know that's where you are in your practice, but we're going to have a big focus on the mid-market, and we think that opens great opportunities for everything. And I just want to say one last thing which is to thank you again, because you make this fun for us. That we love being part of your community and the broader QuickBooks community, and to count you as friends. So together we're going to go very far, and thank you once again. So let me turn it back to Jonathon.
So Annette asked a kind of follow-up comment. She said, you know, hey, as you get to larger size firms, it seems like they've insourced their accounting. Elizabeth, stop typing or mute yourself, please. So they've insourced, by the way, if anyone doesn't know, Elizabeth's my wife. So we sometimes have interactions that people are like, wow. Just that fun fact. So the comment is making about these firms, and we've seen this happen, and we've done some work with Linda Artesani and Sarah Provost, where we've seen some larger firms come into our ecosystem. And I, in my sales process, have said, hey, I mean, really clearly to the principal and to the office manager, you're going to fail if you don't allow us to bring in, or if you don't bring in an outside source to help you understand this migration and how to make the most of this QuickBooks platform. Certainly, they have staff internally to utilize it, but what we found is that those teams, there's a great opportunity for the outside vendor to help manage the transition, set up the new workflows, and what ends up happening is an ongoing relationship. And I've seen that happen in multiple instances where they're just not quite the skill sets, the accounting skill sets. Brandy just brought that up in her comment. I can kind of think of the firm that we're talking about that Brandy and I worked together on, where they thought they had it internally, and they didn't necessarily have all the skill sets. So I think it's a bit of a misnomer. I do think you get to a certain size, and yes, there's some internal resources because they have an AP and AR and sort of an office manager. But like the firm I'm thinking about is a 20-person law firm out of Lansing, Michigan, with a dedicated accounting person and office manager, and they've outsourced it to someone in our community. Brandy, do you want to say something? I thought you were waving. No? Okay. So as much as you're, Annette, right on a certain level, the real opportunity, whether it's, you know, what we call a solo plus or whether it's a large firm, is that it's not just doing the bookkeeping and the monthly reconciliation. The opportunity is to modernize and help them understand the workflows. And from those workflows to create the best practices and repeatable best practices month over month. From there, you quickly get into position to be a trusted advisor. And that's what we've seen. Them helping understand the data, collate the data, organize the data, and report on it to help the law firm grow. And I think that's the secret sauce, is that you have to get through the workflows. And in many instances, law firms don't recognize it because they're sort of just trying to replicate what they were doing. And they need to understand how to modernize. And it's your community's expertise that really helps them get there. Okay, I'm just checking if there's any other questions. Okay, Fred, you're up.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Hey everyone, I'm excited to share with you some of the product perspective on our 2020 plans. I'm going to share my screen. Do you need to enable me to do that, Jonathon, or do I just go ahead?
I think you can
try. I'll try.
There you go.
Did that work?
Yeah, I see you.
Okay, great. So what's LeanLaw going to look like in 2020? Gary already mentioned that basically the one thing we're going to do or focus on is to launch a product for mid-market law firms that aligns with QuickBooks Advanced. And let me go through some of the detail of what that means. As I'm doing that, keep in mind this is fairly early. We're sharing this fairly early with you, so you're in the loop, but also to get some feedback. So if there's some of this that doesn't sound right or something that's missing, absolutely speak up or get hold of us afterwards. This is something that's in a big way in progress and can be influenced, and we hope to be influenced by you guys. Let's look at it. We're thinking of having two products. The names have not been decided on yet. Here I call them Essentials and Premium. Premium is the product that the mid-market product we're talking about. Essentials is essentially the current product, and it's for smaller firms. The idea here is that it's simple. It's got an efficient billing workflow. It can be used for small and large firms, but it's just a simple billing solution that aligns with QuickBooks Simple Start, Essentials, or Plus, and that's kind of the key attributes of that product. We have, so that's kind of LeanLaw today, although we have been adding a bunch of features in LeanLaw that just have become available for everyone. So, we've been adding stuff for bigger clients, for new features and so on. They've been just included in the Essentials product that we have. We're going to start splitting some of that out into the Premium product. And the Premium product is more of a kind of enterprise-ready billing solution for a larger firm. It has more advanced workflows. It'll have more detailed, flexible reporting. It also will have what we call here enterprise account administration. What that is a more detailed control over who has access to what, maybe how you log in or manage accounts and so on. So more features there to allow control for the larger firms. And then we're thinking about maybe some premium support and onboarding features for clients. And this product aligns with more directly with QuickBooks Advanced. So these are kind of the high-level buckets. I'm going to now go and talk about, just drill in a little further on more detail. Before I do, I want to say one thing, which is that there's one big thing missing on this slide, which is pricing. We haven't decided on pricing yet, but our thinking currently is that Essentials would be the current LeanLaw price. So depending on how you pay it, roughly 30 to 35 per user per month. The Premium product will be more expensive. We don't know exactly how we're going to price it. But one thing I want to emphasize is that we're definitely going to be grandfathering in existing clients in a sort of fairly aggressive way, and not just sort of raise prices for current clients. So pricing to be determined is what I can say at this point. All right, let's go a little more in detail here and drill into features. Essentials. We've got time tracking. All the stuff related to time tracking is part of this product. Mobile app, desktop tracker, all this stuff. Also expense tracking. Invoicing, trust accounting is just part of a law firm, operating a law firm, so that's also in here. And then our secret sauce, the real-time QuickBooks integration of expenses, invoices, payments, and trust accounts. So all that stuff is definitely part of our Essentials product. And then a bunch of reports. Now, if we go to Premium, you see sort of two sections here. There's the stuff at the top And then we have some italicized features at the bottom. Stuff at the top is features that we already have developed and are already part of LeanLaw that we're going to look at splitting out into a premium product. The italicized items are things we have not released yet or haven't developed yet. So those are new features that we have that we're planning on building. Just to go through fairly quickly here, there are sort of at the high level some workflow features that we would have in premium, such as approval options and bulk processing features. We're also thinking of putting the handling of multiple trust accounts in this product, and then a bunch of reports basically that are more advanced. We would carve out and put in the premium bucket. I mean, some of this is like we're taking some features from Essentials and putting it in premium, creating a more powerful product over there. But at the same time, the way we look at it is that the Essentials product will be simplified and simpler for smaller firms to use and to understand. And so there's sort of an added value in taking things away in a way from the Essentials product. Now, in terms of new things that we're going to do, and this is based on us listening to several of the larger clients that we have worked with over the last year. This is roughly in order of priority, but this can change. And I want to just mention, I want to spend a little time on the first 3 items that are sort of fairly near term on the backlog. One is detailed control over user roles, and this is a bit of a gap in LeanLaw today. We have quite a few. We have a lot of flexibility around rates and people being assigned to certain matters, certain ways, and there's flexibility there. But we're definitely hearing from the community and from clients that we need more flexibility in what individual users can see, and also what type of roles is set up for the firm. For example, we don't have a paralegal role currently. We want to add that, but only some firms need it. And what does that role have access to? Do they have access to reports? Do they have access to expense syncing or whatever? To the invoice workflow? Can they see invoices? Can they edit invoices? All those things we're working on providing a more detailed control with some sensible defaults, but with controls for the firm to do it the way they want. The second item here is write-off. We have a gap there as well today. When you do a time entry, let's say I've worked 8 hours on something. When we put it on an invoice, it can be adjusted down to 4 hours by myself or by my attorney who's responsible for this client. The only way to do that today in our product is to just change that time to 4 hours, as if I had never spent those 8 hours. And we want to enable write-off so that those 8 hours still exist in the system, so that you can do reporting, that absolutely critical reporting for the larger firms that show productivity and so on for attorneys and other people working on clients. So that's a big item. The third one, trust requests. This is something we're actually working with Intuit on and some partners. It's not currently possible to accept electronic payments or to accept trust funds or retainers with electronically using the Intuit payment platform. Because basically those payments can only go into the operating account. So we're currently working on a way to allow our clients to take trust requests electronically. Pretty excited about this. It will be cool to allow our clients to do this. Many use third-party products today like LawPay for this. But we'd be able to do it with QuickBooks if we, once we get this working. So an exciting feature. You can see these other items here. I'm not going to go into detail here, but just quickly, other types of reporting, budgeting features. SAML integration is a way for a firm to control user accounts through, for example, the Office 365 account, for example, so they can add and remove users automatically. Audit logs have better feature there. Notifications, allowing users to be notified under certain circumstances, workflow related or business related. And then finally, there's a QuickBooks Advanced feature called Custom Fields, really useful for reporting. We wanna integrate that with our solution as well. So those that's the detail. Just let me know if you have questions now or later, and we'll answer them. I want to just say a little bit about a sort of an area that we've been talking about for a while called practice insights. It kind of, if I go back again, it kind of runs through a lot of reporting headlines in the feature set here. What we would like is, we would like to get to a point where LeanLaw can be used to answer real business questions in a better way. We have a bunch of reports that are that indirectly do this, but questions like, am I getting paid? Are my bills getting out on time? Am I productive? And which clients need my attention? Or maybe more interestingly, like, am I charging the right thing for this client? Should I be taking a retainer for them? Should they be going on a fixed fee instead of hourly? Real business questions. We'd like to kind of level up on the reporting next year and help users answer those things. What flows into all these questions is data, and we have all of the data currently that you see there. But we're missing a couple of pieces. I mentioned write-offs already, and we're also not currently integrating overhead or sort of the expense side of the law business into our reporting. So those two items on the data side will enable us to do really exciting reporting and what we call practice insights. So leveling up on reporting. Finally, I want to just say, so these are kind of, this is the high level plan, but there's some tactics here too. I mean, just in terms of our approach, we just want to continue just taking LeanLaw from good to great by listening to clients and to partners, which means you. I think we've shown that we do this. We have a lot of new tweaks and features in our product that's a direct result of you and our clients pointing out things that could be better. So this is at the core of everything, really. Like we want to do what's needed for our clients. Sort of what guides us when we make decisions. This is a complex thing, but I just want to highlight a few things. Obviously, we want when we decide on what to work on, it's important whether users need it or want it, and the more that we think will need something, the better. the other sort of idea that I wanted to share is that we have this idea that when we do something, it's good if it helps keep the attorney in LeanLaw and the accountant in QuickBooks. That's kind of an, in terms of reporting or general use, we want to, I'll put differently maybe, we want to keep the attorneys out of QuickBooks and make LeanLaw the window into their business as opposed to QuickBooks. Finally, we have a absolutely key technical principle, which is we want live data in the product. We do not want to have a kind of a sync mentality or sync architecture where that a lot of our competitors have, where you push a button every month and some data flows back and forth and half of it is like in conflict. And I mean, we just want, when you look at LeanLaw, that's the data. If you look at QuickBooks, you see the same data. So it's live data between the two platforms. That's absolutely key, I think, to get this working. Also, as we look back, I think there's some things that I really think we haven't done that well last year, and that I want to improve. We've done a bunch of new things, but we haven't done enough to communicate new features that we've added or to help users and you, our partners, take advantage of new features and workflows. It surprises us constantly that we have something we thought everybody was aware of, and we suddenly realize some client is still doing something manually that we have a button for hidden somewhere in the product. So I really want to focus on that. With that, I don't know if it'll be monthly, but I did some meetups just product related with users earlier this year, and I think it was great, and I need to do more of those. And this also helps share features and activate people in the product better. And then just help you help clients, I guess. The theme here is just a little more information about what's happening in the product from our side. I think it's something we can do a lot better. That's it from me. So we'll hand it back to Jonathon unless there's questions or thoughts on this. I haven't watched the chat here, so
I've been watching it, Fred.
Okay.
So I want to just make 3 or 4 little points on what Fred said. The first and foremost is that our sort of vision for this community is that we want to elevate you. I mean, we certainly want to take away some pain in terms of manual work, but when we, the first is how do we make the workflows operate efficiently, and then secondly, to Fred's point about practice insights, how do we give you tools to help that law firm better understand where they stand, where they are financially. And we all know that this trusted advisor is this sort of catchphrase and ideology about where people aspire to be. Well, we think about that on a daily basis about what tools can we give the law firm and you, and what data points to do that. The second comment I want to make is that when you saw that product roadmap and the features, this is us in the very beginnings of this, and it will be an iterative process to really tune what features go in the sort of basic program and what go in the enterprise. And the one thing goes back to Fred's point about we're going to listen to you folks. And if there's pain because we made a poor decision, we're going to correct it. We really want to partner with this community to help us understand what the feature mix should be in these products, what the price point should be, all these different attributes. We've really been successful getting feedback from these new folks, and we're going to continue to do it. The other thing that I want to mention is that as we look at our relationship to QuickBooks, or Intuit, I should say, and Fred mentioned, we advocated to them about, and this is just an example of it, that we felt that being able to receive trust money with QuickBooks payment was critical. Why would they go to a different system like LawPay? And they heard us, and they've actually, with some other folks helping us actualize that. And that's just an example of our advocacy for professional services in general, but law in specific, at Intuit. And one thing Gary didn't mention about QuickBooks Connect is that we really elevated our relationship with Intuit. You know, we kind of came out of we're just a developer to now, you know, we're having far more sophisticated conversations at a far higher level with Intuit. And in all of that, it's this mutual idea of advocating for the QuickBooks Pro Advisor at LeanLaw Accounting Pros, advocating for law and what the product needs to do to help shape that. And so that's a big, important piece of that. Okay, I'm gonna jump into mine. And Fred, the one thing, if we have some time at the end, I'm trying to save that. If you're up for it, I'd love to show folks the new sort of payments workflow that you just put out in the early beta. So
Sure.
just to show them a new product. So I just want to cue you up for that. I'm going to go back to my deck and talk a little bit about the LeanLaw Accounting Pro program. And I apologize that my deck somehow looks a little bit. So here's what we learned last year. It's both an opportunity and a challenge, but it really became, how do we activate your community? And we get a lot of folks saying, you know, they want to sign up for the program. And the one challenge with the community is that there's always this inertia around diving into the product or even recommending it to a client because you don't know it. And I know, like, I'm looking at Annette's screen and she spent the time to assimilate it into her own practice before she kind of got to the place where now I think she's probably on the other side saying, hey, I could probably recommend this to a client. And so we know that that's part of the challenge about how do we activate you as a community. And that's a real theme of what I'm going to be looking at as we look to 2020. So the first thing we're doing, Gary mentioned this, is we're hiring an LAP, LeanLaw. When I say LAP, I mean LeanLaw Accounting Pro, but we're hiring an LAP manager onboarding specialist. We need someone to come in and lead this effort to not only activate and build some content and be part of this community, but also to help you onboard clients and help other clients onboard. So that's going to be something that we're investing in to stimulate, to activate, and you'll see that happen hopefully in the first quarter. That's my goal for that, but second quarter latest. So let's talk about the learn section, and we're going to talk about two different themes: learning from a product standpoint and law firm accounting knowledge. So when we talk about product knowledge, who was it? Someone said, Amelia said, are you going to create some type of certification online training? Yes, that is an explicit goal of ours in 2020. To build a learning management system that will, it's not going to be as savvy and as robust as, say, the Pro Advisors, but we're going to take our first step forward. Now, if you notice the image on the left, there is something on our knowledge base that a lot of folks don't know, which is this LeanLaw accounting workflows. But we are absolutely moving forward and evolving into some type of certification with an LMS, and that's a huge goal. And of course, this person that we're going to hire is going to be very influential in helping facilitate that. But we want people to sign up for the program, and we want people to be able to go through a regimented program to learn how to not only use LeanLaw, but the second is learning about law firm accounting. So in tandem to our aspirations to put an LMS in place, we're going to continue to coach and evangelize for law firm education. Specifically, we had some very successful webinars. We did one just in early December that we had 350 people online doing a trust accounting webinar. So there is a real thirst for this information, and we are going to continue to evangelize that. So the themes will be around trust accounting. That seems to be a really big one. Expense management for law firms, reporting, and law firm onboarding migration. Now, these are just a few of the things. We're open to your ideas. We're open to your collaboration. We can do smaller ideas of webinars for just the LAP community that LeanLaw hosts via GoToMeeting or Zoom. And then we're also going to think about then those that are successful launching them into Insightful or CPA Academy. A second tier of that is partnering with Intuit. Again, what Gary said is that one of their big bets is professional services with QBA, and law is a niche within that. So they're very interested in doing some collaboration around content and content marketing to pro advisors. So we'll see some of that in 2020 as well. When we talk about connecting, this isn't one of ours, I just grabbed a slide sheet, but these meetups are really important. They're informal environments for us to connect. Sometimes, there's 5 people on it, and sometimes there's 25, and that's just the way it goes. We'll definitely do them in the first and second quarter. We'll slow down through the summer, and then we'll kick it back up in the fall. And the topics sometimes will be very loose, and the topics sometimes will be very, specific. We hope that in every meetup, we're going to show product and product advancement, meaning new features, and talk about it. So they can be very collaborative, and we're going to continue it because we really appreciate it. Now, the meetups that Fred was talking about were really product specific. So the LAPs might be more focused on what you guys want to talk about. What Fred was talking about is learning about the product specifically from an end user standpoint. So you might want to attend both of them. We're also under the Connect theme. Boy, that's rendering slow. Going to continue our relationship with QuickBooks Connect. We didn't have, candidly, Scaling New Heights was not a great show for us. We'll attend, but I'm not sure we're going to show there. We're going to explore some other accounting focused trade shows, but QuickBooks Connect is absolutely the most important. And a side note, we've gone 3 years in a row, and every year it's just been greater and greater and greater of an experience for us. And Gary mentioned this, that it is absolutely a blast to connect into this community. The secret is it's more fun than lawyers. Lawyers are just not as fun as bookkeepers and accounting people.
I resemble that remark.
It's true, Gary. And I mean, look at Gary smiling in the lower left-hand corner. I mean, he didn't get to do that at a law conference. He'd be wearing a suit. So the point is that we're going to double down, and I think probably in 2020 we'll even explore the idea that, I know, Ned, I'm just teasing about lawyers. We'll begin to explore QuickBooks Connect Toronto. It was just started this year with their back-to-back. So we're going to be at Connect next year and continue to do that. We're also going to continue to be part of the community in the greater sense. We did the happy hour.
Jonathan,
yes?
One thing before you think about attending QuickBooks Connect in Toronto as an exhibitor is you need to have in place the ability to handle the Canada tax stuff.
We can, let's talk about that offline. We actually have a bunch, we have a bunch of Canadian customers, and we can handle the Canadian tax, and we're actually working with one of the bar associations within the provinces to become accredited from trust accounting. So we're making strides to.
Then that's perfect. Then that's definitely a good place for you to be.
So when we look at the Connect, we're going to continue to try to be part of these communities and potentially even do some sponsorship in it. Obviously, our great friend Linda Artesani is one of the heads of Community Live, and that's an important organization and entity for us. So we want to do that. I also mentioned Slack. We experimented in the fourth quarter with bringing in some of our LAPs that we're really close to into a Slack channel dedicated to them. And what we found is that it's terrific. We had specific conversations about onboarding folks. We had forums where we're talking about product advancement, where 2 people were talking to each other that didn't expect to talk to each other. So what we don't want to do is probably try to create a new online community like Community Live. What we will probably do is make it more insular in a Slack and then latch on or connect with other people's communities to do that. But that's open for debate. But you will see some more invites and more activity with the Slack channel. We don't want it to be a free-for-all, but at the same time, it's a really effective environment to do short-form communication. So let's talk about growing. So we are going to double down on this professionals page. And I can tell you that I bring deals live in session to this page in particular that shows the search that says this is the community that they need, meaning the law firm that's looking at LeanLaw, that they need to engage for that. And that is something we're going to continue to do. We redid this page so it has better search. It's still in its infancy, the search page, so people can find it. And we're still looking and trying to understand the search parameters. But we've redone web pages, and they're looking better and more professional. And the opportunity here is that this is something that is specific to you and law versus your QuickBooks Pro Advisor page, which may not be quite as specific to law. So this is something important. But here's the exciting part. If we use a tool called Intercom, and when people hit certain pages on our website or in product, we can pop up certain things that we choose. And it's our goal in 2020, both on our main website, and this is just a page I put on, and this is just an example of it, to introduce this more proactively. As you can see, one of the main headings is accounting, where you see the Pro Advisor page, or the LeanLaw Accounting Pro page. We now want to actually bring that out up to the forefront and have that pop up. And don't get, yes, there's 6 people or 8 people up there. We'll do it in a way that we're not trying to make it just about 8 people. We want to make it about the greater community. But I didn't have a better screenshot to articulate in this meeting, but that's something that we intend to do. On our main webpage, when people look at QuickBooks and LeanLaw, saying, hey, there's accounting professionals that can help them get from where they are to where they need to go and support them. You're also going to see it in product at very key places. So when we do a, hey, connect LeanLaw to QuickBooks, we actually say, hey, you might want to talk to an accounting professional here, right? Because you're making some big decisions about how LeanLaw is going to interoperate with your QuickBooks account. This is another opportunity that we want to bring your community right up in front and connect it with professionals. So this is really important to us, and we're really committed to making sure that you folks are being seen by these lawyers and legal folks that are coming in and looking at LeanLaw, because we're repeatedly getting them asking us, do we know anyone, number one, or number two, we're advocating to them, hey, you need to get someone or you won't be successful. That's part of us, so that will happen. Also about growth is your own personal growth in your practice. We had a really successful series with Lauren last year. They're all the webinars that we did are online and accessible if you want to watch them again. Lauren and I have a very good rapport. She's really astute and smart, and she's doing some really good things about, if you don't know, Lauren's a coach specifically focused on the accounting community, a business coach. And so we partnered with her to develop webinars, short form, a webinar series about how to grow your own practice. And we have 3 slated for next year, and we'll probably end up doing 5 or 6 for the total period, where Lauren and I talk over a topic and engage the community and have a really productive conversation. So that's going to happen as well. So referrals. So when I talk about growing, this has become really important to us. How we can grow and refer clients to you, and how you can refer clients to us. And I'll be very transparent. We, of course, want your clients. We want your clients because we think we're better at servicing them and their needs than other vendors, and we think we're better and acknowledge you folks better than the community. And so you're going to see us do different programs to say, hey, how can we help you introduce LeanLaw to your clients, and how can we help you sell LeanLaw? Meaning you have clients and you've expressed interest. How can we help you do that? And Neil Kugler came up to me at QuickBooks Connect and said, hey, I have this objection. And I said, this is how you'd handle this objection to LeanLaw. And it gave me the idea that we need to put a sales kit together, something that you guys can understand how to communicate the value proposition of LeanLaw and help to overcome common objections. So that will happen in 2020 as well. And we also, and here's my ask to the group, if you have not done so today, this is critical to both of our success, in the sense that if you want LeanLaw to exist, and you want LeanLaw to help you, and you want to be able to offer it to your clients, this is our QuickBooks app page, and we have 43 5-star reviews, or 42, I should say, as of this morning. We want that to be 100 by the end of the year, if not more. If you have not reviewed LeanLaw, we ask that you go and give a review. Capterra is a secondary source, but this is the most important place for 2 reasons. One, of course, when you land into it as a client and customer, it gives LeanLaw credibility. So that helps us stay in existence. But number 2 is it gives credibility back to Intuit that your community is validating LeanLaw. That's gone a long ways in 2019 when we talked to Intuit. They look at this page and 5-star reviews. And we learned this from T-Sheets. Matt Rissell said, 5-star review, 5-star review, 5-star review. He was totally right. So we're advocating that you go out and give us a review as part of that. So in summary, we're hiring a staff to support you, number one. Two, we're building some training and certification platform. Three, we're doubling down on marketing you to law clients. And four, we're going to continue to be active in this community and be participatory. A few things I just said as what's next. So you should, if you haven't done so, join our program. I assume most of you have, but please do. There's no cost. And a few things that you'll always be no cost. No cost to you to use LeanLaw, no cost for you to access LeanLaw in your clients' accounts. That's a mantra for us, and we're not going to budge on that. Two, if you haven't gotten your LeanLaw badge displayed on your website and other social media places, please do so. Heather Mears is on the line. She's available to help. Just reach out to us. Be part of these online communities. Linda's is really great. QB Community Live. Amanda Argalard, I mispronounced her last name. She's got a great one too, and she's warming up to QuickBooks, which is really exciting. We actually did something there. So she recognizes the QuickBooks and even using a single chart of accounts for trust account management. And then, as I said, lastly, review LeanLaw. Questions, comments? All right. Fred, I'm going to give it back to you real quick. And just to do, if you can do a quick glance over, we only have about 10 more minutes, and I just want a few little closing remarks. So go ahead and take
Okay, thank you. Can you stop share? Okay, thank you.
on it.
Because I needed control here. Yes, so just sort of at the end, hadn't really prepared this, but I'm pretty excited to show some features we built into the invoicing workflow that's been in pre-release with a couple of clients that we're now switching on for other clients. You go to billing and you see these tabs here, ready to bill. And then once an invoice gets to QuickBooks, we have the open tab and the paid tab, where you can see invoices in those states. What we've done is, if you see, you should all have this little button up here on the left that you can switch to this new workflow to check it out. When I click that, you can switch back, by the way, by clicking it again if it's too scary. I hope you won't. You can see here that what that does is it combines the open and paid invoices into one big QuickBooks page. So you'll create invoices here and have them in draft and so on. And once they're in QuickBooks, they're all visible through this page. And we have extra functions in here. First of all, there's a filter up here showing, by default, just the invoices that are open. You can look at the paid ones here. So that's the same invoices you would have seen on the paid tab and the open tab. We've added some more information. The due date hasn't been shown here before. We now have the due date, which shows if it's overdue, it'll show yellow. If it's very overdue, it'll show red. And you can just look at those if you pick overdue here. I guess these are all overdue in our demo account. We're not managing our law firm very well here. There's other filters here, like you can and functions related to delivering invoices. You can look at just we'll show here in the delivery column whether something is ready to be printed or emailed, or whether it's already been printed or emailed. And you can filter here, for example, hey, let's see all the ones that are ready to be emailed. I click on all of them, and then I can email them down here. And this reuses the QuickBooks function to email them. So we basically expose some of the QuickBooks delivery features into LeanLaw so that a business manager or a lawyer can do this themselves. If it makes sense. So I have to go very fast through here, so you're just going to get a taste for it. The final thing we've added is the ability to pay invoices from here, including paying from trust accounts. So we have an additional filter that'll just show all the invoices for clients that have trust funds. So you can see here, these are all the ones with trust funds. Then I can, from here, I can pay that invoice. You can see here it has a balance of 1,000. There's trust funds about 3,000. I can pay it from trust. I get some options here and say pay from trust. So this will record that trust payment and so on in QuickBooks as usual. But the cool thing is you can do this in bulk. So you can basically say, hey, click on all of these invoices or individual ones, go to the pay from trust function, and we will record trust payments for all of those invoices in one operation. So super powerful. Some of our clients before had to do this manually for like 100 clients every month, and now it's one click. So pretty excited about that. You can also just record normal payments. So basically, let's say I have an invoice here, 3,000. I got a check. Well, I can just go in here now and say record payment. And this just creates a payment record in QuickBooks. This is the same as just going over and doing it in QuickBooks directly. So I get those same fields, and I can just say pay, and it records a payment. Let's see what else.
Hey, Fred,
that's sort of high level. And
Fred,
quickly here, with just a few minutes left to go, what we have.
I have a few questions that came up. Annette asked, I just want to make sure everyone gets it. Hey, do these actually go through QuickBooks, and will the invoice date be set? And the answer is yes. That we're just essentially, as Fred said, telling QuickBooks to send that invoice on a particular date. Brandy asked, and I don't know the exact answer. She said, how does the credit card and ACH buttons and QBO, how does that play into here? And if you could jump into a matter, Fred, I think that's where you would manage that. So when Fred jumps into any matter, and as he goes into QuickBooks, we don't have the specific ACH and CC, but we could add it here. But what we've done is that when you see the default, that's just looking at the QuickBooks and saying, what's the default of the delivery term set for the law firm or for the company. What this does is override it at the client level or the sub-customer level. So when you set a different preference, and the point I wanted to make here was, we had a client that was sending 2,000 invoices a month, and a mixture of emailed and printed. And part of that, a relationship was a LAP advocated for them, saying, hey, how do we do this? You know, there is a way to do it in QuickBooks, but it was hard. But we committed, and it was part of winning the client, we committed to building this feature in that allowed you to batch them together and quickly see what you need to do in terms of delivery. And that brought something that was must do in QuickBooks back into LeanLaw, which candidly kept someone out of QuickBooks that the folks didn't want in QuickBooks. And so that was one of the reasons that we did that. So if we need to add CC and ACH preferences, saying yes.
Well, we have it at a firm level in here. So we do have that option over here. So you can set both one of these over here, and this would apply to all invoices we create. You cannot control it on a client-by-client basis yet.
Is the API not, are you saying that LeanLaw doesn't do it, or the API doesn't do it?
We don't do it.
Yeah, so it's a feature, Brandy, that we could bring into it if you thought it was important. We put it on the list. And that's really the back and forth we have with this community, is when someone like Brandy and someone in your community says, hey, this is important, and we go out and assess it and look at the capabilities, because obviously we didn't think about it when we wrote it. So that, I just wanted to give the group a taste of that new feature that's come online, because it's really exciting, and the folks that have been using it. So I'm gonna end it, because we're at the end, by saying to reiterate what Gary said, which is a heartfelt thank you. A thank you to this community for your support, for your advocacy, for your partnership. It means the world to us. It really does. We've just had a blast getting to know everyone, and we really are excited about 2020. It's just a really big year for the company in terms of the opportunity, and we know that this community is really critical to that success, and we just want to support your success, because we know if you're successful, we'll be successful. So I'm going to say goodbye to everyone and thank you. If anyone has any specific questions or follow-ups, just reach out to us. We're readily available. Take care, everyone. Have a great day.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.